Right crew, quick fire tips video coming up about traits and what traits you should use for what different roles on the pitch.
Whatever it is, I've got just the cure for it.
How's it going crew? I hope you're well. So traits, what are they? They can help you build a player to be even more effective than he already is. Basically telling him to do things more often in a match to help you dictate a game. We're always looking for little things that can help us get the edge on our opponents, aren't we? And traits are just that. They are superb. And the best thing about them is, when some players don't have them, we can train them up to have them. For example, this young man here, Tulmo Basic, is the ideal candidate to train in traits. You can see there, he's a good all-round player, not too old. And when I go to his player traits section, you can see just above my head there, it says player traits, none. So he has none at the minute. He's like a block of clay ready to mould. Now this is a new little mini series, so we're going to cover lots of different roles and positions and traits that will help that position stand out more in a match. Now today we're going to do box-to-box midfielder, stroke central midfielder, on attack support. So what sort of traits do we need for that role? So we want them to be aggressive and attacking. My box-to-box midfielders, especially in a formation such as this, I could do with them getting a bit more aggressive in the final third. So getting into these areas, getting into the box. These are all really handy things that can add to a box-to-box midfielder or a central midfielder on support or attack. Both roles pretty similar. I want them getting in the box, affecting things higher up the pitch. Of course you can add player instructions to help aid this, such as get further forward, move into channels. These also help, but traits mean they're more likely to do it. It becomes part of their game when they play that role. So what traits do I want from this box-to-box midfielder or central midfielder on attack? We want them getting into the box to affect the game higher up the pitch. I've given you the answer there with two of them. So these are the three we're going for the box-to-box midfielder or the attacking midfielder. We're going to get into the opposition area, move into channels and get forward whenever possible. This is not an exhaustive list. This is just my top three traits that I want to get into that position. So now you've established what traits you want your guy to learn, it's time to put them into practice. Now I've established this is the man I want to learn these traits. He's a good all-round player, ideal for that role. You can see he can play in the attacking midfield roles as well, so he's going to take to them pretty nicely. So all you do is you go up to development and we'll go down to discuss new trait. Discuss new trait, choose one of your coaches. One of the ones you trust the most is ideal but not essential. We go to movement training and the first one we're going to try and teach him is to move into channels on a regular basis. Click that, end quick chat and away you go. You can see now he's starting to learn moves into channels. It's in green. It's going to take a bit of time, but he's starting to learn it. Once he's got that one done, then you can move on to some more traits you want him to learn. So there's positives and minuses to having a player with no traits at all, because if you want to add 2 or 3, it's going to take a little bit of time, and it's always better to do them when they're a bit younger. Now the best scenario for me is to pick up a player who's already got a couple of the traits you like, and then you just need to add 1 or 2. That's even better. Such as this player, absolutely ideal, John Daniel Akpro. If you look at his traits, you can see he's already got gets into opposition area and moves into channels. For a box-to-box midfielder, he's ticking all the boxes. The only one we are lacking is gets forward whenever possible. So if we can now go up to his training, and you can see he's 28, so they still will learn traits even at that age. Discuss new trait, attacking, movement training, get forward whenever possible. That makes sense. Action it immediately, end chat, and he's going to add that to his game as well. So you've got a couple of options. You've got like a project option that you want to use with younger players, perhaps adding traits as you go, or just to finalise and finish players off who've got a couple of traits you like, and then you're going to add another one to it. So the final point when looking to add traits in, you've got to make sure they make sense. So for example, Lucas Leiva here, if I was to ask him to suddenly learn how to go forward and get in the box, it's not going to make a lot of sense. Number one, he's 34 years old. And number two, he's got a rake of pre-existing traits that kind of go against that theory. Playing short, simple passes, coming deep, likes ball played in defeat. So he's not lined up for that role. So you need to make sure you get the right player for the right role for the right traits. If you're unsure if the traits are right for the player, if you've got good coaching staff, they'll probably tell you. If we go up to development now, training, discuss new trait for Lucas Leiva, we go to the attacking coach and movement training. If I ask him to do these movement training, you can see he'll say it's a bit late in the day for Lucas Leiva to learn that. So you'll see that if they're too old for it, if your coaching staff think they're a little bit old, and if they're not suitable, as in their attributes don't work with that trait, they'll also tell you that. So you go to your development tab again, training, discuss new trait, movement training. So if I want this guy to get forward whenever possible, there you go. I'm not sure that's a suitable trait for him to add. Physical ability is not there for it. So they will give their opinion. You can go against it. It may take longer to learn that trait, or they may not learn it at all. So if you're unsure if the trait's suitable, ask a very good coach his opinion. So the training is set. They are learning their traits to make them better players and more effective players for what we want them to do. It's the 4th of August in game. Let's see how long it takes them to grab that trait. So we're in January now. The team are killing it in the league, by the way. So formation. And if we go to Basic, got himself sent off, the little rebel. But you can see now in his player traits, he's got the moving and channels. So he has started to build this trait back catalogue. So it's taken around about 6 months, 5-6 months, because he's slightly, he's 25 years old, a little bit younger. He'll probably take to it a bit faster. And this is backed up by the fact that Akpro is still learning his trait. Now, he hasn't played as much, so that might be a factor. But a little bit older, they may take a little bit longer to learn the trait. My last bit of advice is, as soon as you get to a new club, have a look at your squad, and the players you want to mould, get them learning that trait as soon as possible so they'll learn it that little bit faster. Hope you enjoyed that video. Now, I feel like I'm going to make this into a series, so if there's a certain position or role that you're not sure about and what traits are probably the best for it, let me know in the comments and we'll look at making that video too.